Your information station, WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show. It's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment, we've got Superintendent of Central A&M School District, Sasha Young. Sasha, good morning to you. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm well, Grayson. Thanks for having me.
Well, of course. Glad to have you here. And today we're going to touch on a little bit about a board meeting that was held, I believe you said, even just this last week. That board meeting, a lot happened. I'm wondering if you can kind of break that down for our listeners and maybe some of the things to expect now that that has come to a close.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So our board meeting, as well as our budget hearing for fiscal year 2026, was held Monday night. It's our typical board meeting night. So we just hold our budget hearing prior to that as a special meeting. So our fiscal year 2026 budget was passed and approved. And we talked a little bit about fiscal year 2025 and how we, had worked on some pretty big projects in 25 that have kind of leaked over into 2026. So of course, those are partially coming out of the 2026 budget as well. We didn't really plan any big projects in this next fiscal year budget, but we did begin talking about parking at Moweaqua campus. So this is year 3 for me. In the last couple of years, I've had a lot of concerns about parent pickup and drop off, and just kind of like the chaos of the flow of traffic in front of our Moweaqua building. I've also had some concerns brought to me about parking for softball games. As you know, if you've attended a softball game at Moweaqua, you notice that most of the cars are parked on the street or in the grass between the Gregory Intermediate playground and the softball field, which probably isn't the best place to park either. So we did start talking about maybe solving both of those concerns with adding a parking lot kind of to the campus, more of a opportunity to make a better flow for both the school day as well as some of those softball events that we host. So we're talking about that. We're beginning the conversations on that. Last year, we did reach out to a couple of people who have worked on our driveways that we already have the past couple of years and asked them to start, getting us some pricing on what that would look like. It would be essentially the same as all of our other parking lots, just the oil and chip parking lot. We wouldn't be looking at an asphalt, but there are some decisions to make as far as like if that parking lot, can be in the appropriate place to be used to solve both of those concerning things that we've heard about. So
one parking lot to kill two kind of issues right now. So kind of putting that in the optimal spot is going to be probably first and foremost the most important part of it.
Yeah. Without taking away from anything else that goes on, right? Without taking away from any kind of playground area or practice field or any of that. So planning is going to be integral on where that new parking space is going to happen.
You guys are going to be busy when it comes to trying to work on that. And so that's another big thing coming out. In terms of the budget that was passed for this upcoming year, everything good? No shortfalls, anything like that?
It's a balanced budget. So we're pretty pleased.
I'm glad to hear that. There have been a lot of concerns, obviously, with federal funding and things of that nature. Have you noticed a reduction in federal funding?
In some areas, yes. I would say that the advice I've been given is what they call flat funding, right? So expect to get what you have gotten, but no more. And I would say that that's pretty accurate with what I have seen. It's been, the grants that we write and the revenue that we have coming in from different areas, I would say is very similar to what we have received in the previous year.
Okay. So yes, a reduction in some areas, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Originally we had a grant that was not approved immediately as it has been in the past. It was one of them that was kind of impacted by the federal government more than our other grants, but it did end up coming through. So no huge losses for us.
Okay. And I
Now,
know,
other
sorry.
grants were, I'm sorry, Sue, I didn't mean to cut you off. Some of the grants that other schools get that we may not receive could have also been the ones that were the biggest impacted. There are several different types of grants that different schools can write for, but we write for Title I, Title II, and Title IV, and all of those numbers came in where they did, pretty much last year. So
I'm glad to hear that for you.
yeah.
And I've learned a little bit more about how schools get funding. Obviously, revenue is kind of tough to sometimes come by as
Hmm.
a school too. I'm wondering, tier 1 or tier 2? Is Central A&M under tier 2?
We are a two. Hmm.
Okay, I figured as
Yeah.
much, but just wanted to ask and see where you're at with that. So, but I'm glad to hear that, balanced budget. We're feeling probably pretty good about that, I would assume.
We're feeling great. Obviously, being mindful of our spending is super important to us, right? And making sure that we don't take on anything that you know we can't afford. So it is a balanced budget. We are doing fine, and we're just always being mindful of what we buy and making sure we're getting the best product for our money.
Yeah, well, there are products that are probably climbing up in price on you, and so to know that your funding has stayed the same, that at least is a good thing for now. The
Mm.
only concern I have is not for you necessarily in particular, but just moving forward as people want more money or there are more
Sure. Yeah.
students, and then you kind of go, well, we might need that federal funding.
Yeah. And
To
those expenses are always climbing, right?
Yes,
Um, Salaries increase with the cost of living, and gosh, even like copy paper and toilet paper and all of those costs, are increasing just as you would see it as a homeowner or as a family that budgets. You see those costs rising, and so it's also rising for school districts. Yeah.
yes, yeah. Nobody's alone in this
Oh,
inflationary period that we're under now. There was one other deal, though, Sasha, that you mentioned to me that came out of the board meeting, and that was a
yeah,
reunification process, a plan in place. And you kind of wanted to talk about that, give
sure.
it a
Yeah.
little more transparency. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so when I came on board here at Central A&M, the Macon Pyatt region was already kind of a year into crisis planning, is what they call it, and reunification planning. And so I was about a year late to the game. But what it all boils down to is just making sure that our school districts are prepared in the event of, um, you know, a fire takes out a school building or any kind of crisis that would impact the district. And so we have met about quarterly, sometimes more often than quarterly, as a group at Macon Pyatt about just planning for what that looks like in each individual district. And our chief of police, Chief Hale, came to the board meeting, and we just kind of updated the board on kind of what those meetings have been about, what we think our next steps need to be as a district to just make sure we're prepared. So my first year here, we trained our teachers on Alice drills, which basically is, giving you the opportunity as the teacher to decide if something's going on in your school. Do you stay in your room and do you lock down your classroom, or do you try to exit the building? And so we practiced that with the staff, so they would have an understanding of what that would look like. Last year, we added in student drills, and we do 3 Alice student drills a year now. And teachers are given the opportunity to take in some information about what the concern is, where the concern is located, and then decide for themselves if they think it's best to lock down with their students or if they think it's best to exit the building and go to their meetup space, right? Their reunification spot. This year, as we start planning, we're going to continue to do those drills, but we're also going to start talking about, like, what if we have to evacuate the entire building and relocate because it's no longer safe to stay in our building. So that's just like the natural next phase of our drills and our planning. And so that's just kind of where we are right now. We're looking at opportunities of places that we could unload an entire campus of kids to then reunify those kids with their parents. One of our local schools did a drill per se, not this past school year, but the first school year, where they did a fire drill, but then part of their drill was the fire chief did not allow them to go back in the building because the damage was too extensive. And so they practiced putting students on buses and taking them to their reunification site. And they asked the parents to be a part of that drill and come and pick up their students just so they could practice like what that would look like. And I think it's important to note that we've been practicing fire drills and tornado drills forever, right? And because we practice those, our students know what to do, our teachers know what to do, and everyone has a better sense of safety and security during those times because we've practiced them so much. So part of, one of the things I wanted to do when I came here was to also kind of make us feel comfortable in the event that something outside of a fire or a tornado drill would happen. I want us to feel just as prepared to handle something else.
To me, that practice, those drills are what kind of makes it better in that situation, say it were to happen, because you are that much more mentally prepared, as you mentioned. And so this sounds to me, you mentioned make and pie it, kind of a meeting that happens and a discussion about these plans. Is it fair to say that these conversations and these topics discussed kind of help shape your emergency response plans? Is that kind of a fair thing to say, or?
Absolutely. We are kind of blessed to have access to some of the things that are happening in Macon Pyatt. They're technically not our region, but they share information so well with us, and we appreciate that. And they allow us to, work on things that maybe they're providing that we're not technically a part of, but they are a wealth of knowledge, and they've given us the opportunity to be a part of those meetings that help drive our thinking at the minimum, right? Give us the opportunity to listen and drive some of our thoughts so we as a school district can feel better prepared.
And I'm sure on your end, probably feel a whole lot better about things as well. Well, we're speaking right now with Sasha Young, superintendent of the Central A&M School District, talking that board meeting where they passed a balanced budget, talking about that pickup and drop off, kind of sorting through the chaos a little bit, maybe a new parking lot and a reunification plan and process being put in place for things outside of tornado and fire drills, but of course, your tornado and fire drills as well. We'll come back. We'll talk more with Sasha about what's going on with the Central A&M School District. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
WTIM.
Don't risk losing the trusted news, traffic, sports, and weather you get from AM radio stations. It's time to make your voice heard. We need Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars. When internet and cell services are out, AM could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is Bill Pinkston, General Sales Manager at Landmark at Taylorville. The new 26 models are arriving daily, so it's time to harvest up some huge savings on the remaining 25 models. Right now, you can save up to $12,000 on new Silverado and Sierra trucks. Needing a fuel-efficient family vehicle? We currently have a large selection of Chevy, Buick, and GMC SUVs. Plus, with over 400 pre-owned vehicles in our family dealerships and our lifetime powertrain warranty, why would you buy anywhere else? All roads lead to the Landmark of Taylorville. And remember,
You always do better at Landmark.
Your locally owned Scooters Coffee at routes 29 and 104 in Taylorville are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Tornado Give Back promotion. Scooters Coffee will donate the following to the Taylorville Sports Boosters. For each Tornado varsity football touchdown, they're donating $10. For each 3-point shot in varsity Tornado boys and girls basketball games, they're donating $3. And $5 for each home run scored by varsity baseball and softball team. The 22 local Scooters Coffee Taylorville, thank you for your business. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast.
If you're 40 and over, you'll recognize these artists by their first names. Frank, Dean, Sammy, Andy, Nat, Diana, Michael. Well, here's the big news. You can now hear Central Illinois' largest music library with over 3,500 songs on air and online at 965thechill.com. Tune in on the FM dial in Christian County and on your computer or smartphone. Hear these great artists and many more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 965thechill.com.
The WTIM Swap Shop has gone virtual. Now you can list your items to buy, sell, trade, or give away absolutely free by posting them online. Just click on the Swap Shop icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Then click Create Account to create your free account. Complete the fields and hit Submit. Once your items are approved by station staff, they'll automatically show up on the Swap Shop page on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Yes, the WTIM Swap Shop is now online and still free. Check it out today.
Whether you need a same-day procedure or life-saving care in an emergency, Taylorville Memorial Hospital has the technology and the team to deliver exceptional care. It's where great care comes together. Learn more at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
It's the 40th anniversary of the Greater Taylorville Chamber of Commerce Chili Fest, October 4th and 5th on the Square. Entertainment, art and craft vendors, and of course, delicious chili. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM.
And we're back with the WTIM Morning Show here on your information station, and it's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first and landmark of Taylorville. We're continuing our conversation with Sasha Young, Superintendent of Central A&M School District. We talked about the reunification plan, pickup and drop off, the past budget, and more. We're going to turn our attention now to junior high softball. There's a good reason for it. Sasha, what is that reason?
So last night, our middle school softball girls secured a spot at the first round of state on Friday morning. Yep. So they have really had an amazing season. And Friday, they get to showcase that in the first round of state at Normal. So we're really excited.
At Normal, first round of state, and it's starting on Friday. So for you, I mean, you know, obviously the focus is on the curriculum, the athletics, the whole deal as superintendent. But for you, is it pretty cool to see success in the classroom, success move to the baseball field, the softball field, things like that?
Absolutely. Yes, it's always fun. It's always fun to celebrate our Raiders, whether it be academics and curriculum or extracurriculars or, you know, organizations or clubs that they're involved in. We always enjoy celebrating our kids.
It is a complete deal, and it's a cool deal for the middle school softball team. Again, Friday is when they will start their venture into state in that first round. One way, though, of supporting maybe athletics at Central A&M, we've talked about it before, but it's starting to be rolled out a little bit now. Athletic sponsorships. What can you tell us on that end and how that looks so far?
So yeah, last month we rolled out letters to local businesses and groups that you know have given donations and have sponsored our athletics, but we kind of started more of a committed program, I guess you could say, and we have different tiers of sponsorship, and with those different tiers of sponsorships come, you know, the opportunity for advertising, essentially, and we have had two really good donations come in, and we're just waiting on their advertisement to be put together for them and hung on our fence. So it's a nice way to help fund some of those opportunities for athletics, and then, you know, we can, as a district, reallocate some of that money that we were going to put into the athletics into curriculum and academics, or facilities upgrades, or you know, maintenance requests that have kind of been, well, this isn't really a priority, but we'll get to it kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Nice that, you know, those chrome helmets on the football team have been awfully nice, and it would be nice if we could get some help in paying for some of those as well. So that's a look at athletic sponsorships. Last deal that we want to touch on with just a little bit of time here. What can you tell us briefly, Sasha, about updates on projects around the district?
So we have our AC project was completed. The library and the all-purpose room were able to stay cool in this last little bit of a heat wave. Our roofing project has been completed at the Moweaqua campus, and we are I would say, in swing of our door project. We're just waiting on shipping and delivery, right? We're at the mercy, just like everyone else, of getting those products. And then once those doors come, we will work through that project the rest of this first semester and have all of our new doors on the Moequa campus, hopefully by Thanksgiving, I would say, or Christmas at the latest. But the plan is to just work that door by door so we can keep the building secure through the project. And when it's all done, the whole building will be more secure and more safe and look amazing.
Yes. Well, that is an update on projects there from Sasha. Sasha, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Sasha Young, Superintendent of Central A&M School District here on the WTIM Morning Show.
The evidence they've collected so far